Apparently number one was not as clear as I thought it was.
Da 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 da.
Welcome to Top 8 with Corran and Batmouse. I'm your host, Kendall, or I guess I'm not really the host of this show, but I'm Kendall, and I'm here with Batmouse.
Hey everybody,
and
your favorite neighborhood bat,
and special guest Greg Zinn, aka our Star Wars CCG Rules Advocate Gurgle.
Was I supposed to think of a funny thing to say here?
I don't know. This is only the second episode. And of course, our master of trivial trivia, Mr. Taco Bill.
Hello, everybody.
So today we are talking about the top 8 special rules from Appendix C of the Advanced Rulebook. So Greg, you came up with this suggestion. What made you think this would make for a good list?
Well, it's got a good amount of choices without being overwhelming. There's about 30 kinds of rules in Appendix C. They're all the special rules of the game. I don't know, Kendall, if you were planning on like reading them all out to the audience, or if you want to just give a few examples. But
yeah, I'll read them. I'll read them real fast here.
Sure.
So special rules from Appendix C: asteroid, blown away, bluffs, bombing run, capturing characters, capturing starships, cave, big one cave, collapsed, combo cards, Dagobah restrictions, Death Stars, hyperspeed, orbiting, and you can't play both. Dejeric hologame board, dueling, hatred cards, Hoth energy shield, inserts, Jedi testing, lightsaber combat, local trouble, mining droids, missing, pod racing, reacts, sabacc, Senate, stealing, trench, and undercover spy.
I would just add that some things that people might expect to have heard but weren't in there are just because they're in other chapters. So, for example, you didn't hear Kendall say creatures. Creatures are a card type, so they're not really a special rule. Technically, it's an official, like, major part of the game, even though you rarely see creatures.
Cool. Yeah. And so just and basically just like any other list, this is a top 8 list, and it's by any criteria that we feel like. These are the top. It's the best, definitive best top 8 special rules from Appendix C. So I guess I'll let Taco Bill take over and explain the rules of the game.
All right. So what we're going to do here, we're going to start with some trivia all about Appendix C. You're looking to be the first person to get to 2 correct answers. That'll give you the first pick of which player you are. Now, which player you are is important because that'll tell you where you pick on the list. So player A is going to pick the number 1 and the number 4 spots on the list. Player B is going to pick number 2, 6, and 8. And player C is going to pick spots number 3, 5, and 7. And you might think to yourself, why would I pick player A? You only get 2 choices. But player A also gets a defensive shield. For this episode of the show, this defensive shield is don't do that again. I'll explain how that one works. So actually, let me get to this. So each player will also get 2 senses and 1 alter to use. They may use their senses to cancel somebody else's pick, right? So say Kendall wants to put Dejeric rules at number 1. Somebody might say they sense that. He can't do that. He does also have 1 alter, so if somebody plays a sense, you can use your alter to cancel that. I'll go back to that defensive shield, so don't do that again. For this episode, it can be played when an opponent successfully senses your choice. Your replacement choice cannot be sensed. So if Kendall had picked Dejeric rules for number 1, Batmouse sensed it, it can't be played, right? So Kendall would then play his defensive shield, don't do that again. And whatever choice he makes next is going to be that number 1 spot. All right. With the rules out of the way, let's jump right into trivia. For these, I'm gonna ask our hosts first. So I'm gonna ask Kendall and Batmouse first, alternating, and then Greg gets a slight advantage. He's gonna be able to answer third every question as the guest.
I listened to that first episode and I did a play along at home version, and I gave myself that same advantage of always going last, and I got a grand total of 1 point. So
Greg, I feel like
What?
you're going to do a little better on these.
I hope
Yeah.
so. This is supposed to be my specialty, but we're just talking trivia here, so we'll see.
All right.
We will
Well,
see.
Batmouse, anything to say before we start here?
I would just like to reiterate that this is that gap that helps a mediocre player like myself creep and close that gap a little bit. So I'm very excited to get to the what I like to refer to as the WTF rules.
All right. Well, I'm hoping you got a little bit of a WTF trivia here too. So let's see. So I've got question 1. So I'm going to start with question 1. That makes sense. How many special rules entries are in Appendix C of the current version of the AR? I'm going to go to Batmouse first.
Special rules or just all of the Appendix C rules?
How many special rules are in Appendix C?
27.
I don't know. 27. All right. Kendall.
So I'm gonna have faith in a rules advocate and say 30.
30.
I said
Greg.
about 30. And I guess I shouldn't have said that. Apparently I gave away the first trivia question. But yeah, I think it might have been 29. I think I tried to count them just in case that was a question. Is it
Well,
29?
now I know this is 2 in a row where Taco Bill has had a question that's like how many legal targets do we have for this list? So maybe you should count that next time.
Maybe we're gonna count those from going.
Yeah, but
going
next time I'm
forward.
going to switch it up on you. All right. So I will tell you, none of you got it correct. It's funny, though, because the actual answer is 28. So Batmouse with 27, Greg with 29, both get a point on that one. Let me find
Nice.
your points
Oh, you're
here.
allowed to go over. It's not Price
Not
is
Price
Right.
is Right.
No,
Yeah.
you're
Okay.
allowed to go over.
Okay, that's nice.
All right, so we'll move to question 2. So I know this is about Appendix C, but there's a couple entries in Appendix C that mention a different appendix of the AR. So I want you to tell me, what is the title of Appendix E? We're going to start with Kendall.
Wow.
You got to start hard.
Special cards.
All right, special cards. Great choice. Batmouse.
Location deployment restrictions.
Location deployment. And Greg.
Batmouse is pretty much correct. I think it's actually location deployment rules. It's got the layouts of all the planets and things like that.
All right, so location deployment.
Or just
rules.
yeah, something location for sure.
All right, so I will tell you what I have written down is location deployment. So you guys tied, right? So both of you, I think, get that correct. So you both get 2 points. So what I'm going to do to determine who's the next who gets to pick first, whichever one of you gets one right next will pick first, and the other one will pick second. Kendall, I think you're locked into third here.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's move on. We got question 3. So question 3 is how many specific cards can be blown away? I'm not talking about like planet systems with the super laser. That wouldn't count. So don't worry about counting up the number of systems. I'm talking about specific cards, locations, things like that. We're starting this question with Batmouse.
8.
Batmouse has gone with 8. Kendall?
Okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding. So you don't want to. So yeah, we're not. I don't need the total of every single system that can be blown away by the Death Star, or every single location that can be destroyed by blown away by a bombing run. That's not blown away. I know that.
There you go.
So I'm gonna say both Death Stars, the hollow table thingy. Trying to think if there's any others. Yeah, I'm just gonna say 3.
Kendall with 3. Greg?
5.
5. The actual answer is 7. So you have the blockade flagship, the bunker,
Wow.
the Death Star 2, the Imperial holotable, the main power generators, and the shield gate. They can all be blown away.
I was thinking of the landing platform too, because it gets blown away with the bunker.
Hey, that wasn't listed there, man.
Right, we're going by
Right.
the appendix.
So I'm going to give that answer to Batmouse, who was closest with 8. That means you were the first one to get to 2 points. Technically, you won the tiebreaker. So please tell me if you would like to be player A, player B, or player C.
I want the shield.
You want the shield. So Batmouse, player A. Greg, you get your second choice here, player B or player C.
Oh, sure. Player B is fine. 2, 6, and 8 I get.
Player B for Greg and player C for Kendall. But we'll continue with trivia. I wrote 7 questions. You're going to answer 7 questions. All right. What section of Appendix C has the most subsections with 12? Kendall, we'll start with you.
Oh, wow. 12 subsections. Undercover Spies.
Undercover Spies, a good guess. Batmouse?
I think it might actually be Blown Away.
Blown Away?
Yeah, it gets. We named 7 of them.
Greg?
Well, while Blown Away is going to have a lot, Capturing is going to have more.
Capturing. All right. The answer is Capturing with 12. Blown Away, I think, did have the second most, so you're there. All right.
I guess it's good that you're the rules advocate.
Yeah.
All right, so number 5 here. So how many different cards can deploy to the holotable or hologame board? So I'm looking for all Dejarics and all holograms. I'm not counting AIs, but I am counting V and non-V as different cards.
Oh.
So like, what's the one? Visage of the Emperor and Visage of the Emperor V will count as 2 for this.
Got it.
All right,
And
that
then,
adds 2 more to my picks because I forgot about that card.
Image, both images then, right?
Yep. So Batmouse, you're first.
Oh man. I'm total for both sides, right?
Yep.
17.
17. Kendall?
Okay, so first of all, Batman. I also forgot about Image, so that adds 4 to whatever my total is. Second of all, I was thinking of it in my head and counting them on my fingers, and I had 8 fingers up, but said 10 in my head. So clearly just a thing here, and I was just like thinking of different. I'm gonna say I think 12.
12. Greg?
What was Batmouse's answer again?
He said 17.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high. I think there's probably holograms that we're not even thinking about. I'm going to say like
18. Price is Right me.
Well,
oh yeah, I guess that's the right strategy. Sure. I was going to be nice and guess a higher number, but yeah, we'll go with 18.
18, the Price is Right. Let's go question 5 this time. Last time it happened almost immediately. So the actual answer is 23. Now, I did not list them all out, but there's, I think it was 11 Dejarics and 12 holograms, actually. Right. And a couple other cards that actually came up that said hologram, but don't actually count. So I'll talk to Greg about that. So 23, Greg closest with 18. Okay. All right, we go to
I would have guessed like 25 and been closer anyway, so I don't feel too
Right.
bad about the Price is Right strategy.
You shouldn't. It's a great strategy.
It is a great strategy.
Question 6. Oh no, Han and Luke are missing. You form a search party of Zev Sineska, Commander Wedge Antilles V, and Derek Hobby Clevian V. What do you need to draw to find one of Luke or Han? Kendall.
Whatever Gemp says I need to draw.
I mean, you can draw whatever you want. It's just a matter of if you're going to find him or not.
Yeah. So you add 1 for each of the characters, I think. And I don't think their stats matter. I know that they can still force strain because we had this conversation, but that doesn't help. I'm gonna say you have to draw a 4. I'm gonna guess you have to get above 6.
All right, Batmouse.
So you have 3 characters. I'm not sure. I don't think any of them are scouts. Okay, that would all add 1 to your total. So I think you need a 3.
And Greg.
Just name those characters one more time, please. The ones that are looking.
That is Zev Sineska, Commander Wedge Antilles V, and Derek Hobby Clevian V.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you have a scout there, but I think Zev says something about searching, so I'm gonna say you only need a 2. Zev has some kind of searching game text, I think.
Greg, you're making me look this up on the fly to see if he does. Okay, I didn't think so. So the correct answer is 3. Kendall was right. You had 1 for each character. I think Batmouse said you would have added an extra 1 if it was a scout, but none of them are scouts. So the correct answer is 3.
Is it on Rogue? Does Rogue 2 say something? Is that
It might. I just looked up Zev real quick just to make sure.
I think
it's actually on Rogue 2
the...
gives a bonus. So I thought you were trying to give us a little like twist with it by naming the characters, but yeah, I got fooled because Zev's Snowspeeder Rogue 2 adds a bonus.
And this is why I say they are the WTF rules, and Batmouse is good with WTF rules.
So it's above 5. So I was wrong because
I
had the number wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, it's greater than 5.
That would make more sense because there probably weren't any 7s at the time, so you wanted to be able to but you add 1 for you. I don't know. Never mind.
All right, and then question 7. So what is the max number of cards you can draw during a game of Sabacc? Batmouse.
6.
Batmouse instant 6. Kendall.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm. There's clone cards.
Wild cards.
You can really draw 6 cards. That sounds high. Because clone cards and wild cards don't make you draw extra cards. And you want to get to 11. Seems like there wouldn't be a limit. I don't know. 11.
11. All right, Greg.
The rules do have a limit. I don't have it memorized, but I love Batmouse's confidence, so I'm going to say 6. That's the advantage of going last, is you can do that.
All right, the correct answer is you can draw between 2 and 6 cards. So 6 is the max you can draw. So point for Batmouse, point for Greg. Kendall,
See, I should have said 12 and then been like, oh, I thought you meant the total of both players.
I mean, I would have given you a point for that. All right, so we have finished the trivia portion of our show. We're going to move into the top 8 list portion. I have player A, Batmouse, picking 1st, 4th, and has a defensive shield. Player B, Greg, picking 2nd, 6th, and 8th. And player C, Kendall, picking 3rd, 5th, and 7th. So let's jump right in. We're going to start with pick number 8. That's going to go to Greg.
Sure. So when I was kind of making my own list, I thought about, is the rule, does it feel thematic? Is it too complicated? The players have fun with it? And also, like, does it get played, or is it just like a nice idea that no one ever uses in games? Even though they cause a lot of grief, I'm going to put number 8 as undercover spy rules because they do get played a lot. It does feel pretty thematic to have like an undercover spy out there messing with your opponent. Is it fun? Not always. It does cause grief, and also it's not too complicated. So undercover spies feel like an 8 to me.
Really? All the way down at 8 for undercover spies?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they are not fun. They do not bring joy to Star Wars CCG. They bring unhappiness. And
most of these rules don't bring joy to Star Wars CCG.
No. I'm gonna disagree. I'm not. I love the pick. I agree. I wish it would have been higher. But it makes my heart super happy with undercover spies. I know you guys don't like them, but I like that ability to just go, nah, you can just have that. I don't care. I know the game is currently trying to kill them very hard, but I'd like to keep them around.
What did that poor droid ever do to you?
Exactly.
Yeah, it needs to be higher. I'm going to sense it.
I'm going to alter that.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Undercover Spies was picked. Kendall tried to sense it, and that sense was canceled by Batmouse's alter. So unless we have somebody else who wants to sense it, I'm going to lock Undercover Spies into 8.
I'm good.
All right.
Weird staring that nobody
Batmouse has used his one alter.
Look, you can't. Here's the thing. So when something gets sensed off the board, sensed off the board, you don't get to move it higher.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
can.
gone.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's
can.
just gone.
No, you can
It's
move
true.
it higher.
We're gonna have to work that one out then. I
Yeah,
thought it was
No,
gone
in,
too.
in our last game, it was just gone.
Can't be picked again?
No,
I
it
thought
can
it
be
could.
again.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
definitely can be picked again. That was
Okay.
that was definitely the intention of the rule.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, then let me get my altar back then.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll clarify that in the rules going forward. But in the set of rules in the podcast that I stole these rules from, that is definitely a thing. The only reason that last time I didn't put Great Pit of Carcoon higher on the list because I didn't want it any higher on the list. Like I had other things that I wanted to put higher. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no. Undercover, yeah, that is why I'm sensing Undercover Spies.
Gotcha. Okay.
To because I think it should be higher on the list.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Because in our last game, it was just once it got sensed off the board.
Well,
it was just gone.
The only thing that actually got sensed off the board was my pick. So that's why I chose not to play it again. So that's okay. Now we're clear. This is the second. We just make the rules up as we go along. It's fine.
Yeah.
Second episode.
Okay. So
Points are made up,
Greg, you
they
have
don't
to
matter.
retake that.
All right. So Undercover Spies has been sensed by Kendall. So that means we're going back
Unless
to
Greg
Greg.
wants to alter it.
No, I'll leave it. I'm going to move on to
You get a new
my
number
next
8.
pick. Maybe my most controversial is I am actually going to put it as pod racing. I know a lot of people don't like pod racing, but I'm pretty impressed with how the rules work for this because pod racing seems really complex. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on with the arena and the starting interrupts and the pod racers and the stack destinies. And yet it's all extremely intuitive. No one really asks questions about how to pod race. It just makes sense. You flip over your destiny, you stack them, you have your race total, and then when you reach a high enough number, you win and you do the stuff it says on the epic event.
And
It's
then
beautiful. It just works. And it's
then
kind of fun.
occasionally it cancels the game.
Occasionally it does, but that's not the rules' fault. That's just the fact that Decipher decided it should be a 12-4 swing. I don't blame the rules for that. They should have just put a lower number.
I think you're referring to it blowing up, Jim.
Yeah, I meant.
Oh,
on camera, but, yeah.
For the
okay.
longest
Yeah.
time,
I thought you meant that. I thought you meant it decides the game then and there. Like one
Oh,
person
yeah,
wins
yeah,
the
no.
race, and now you know how the game's going to go.
All right.
I
So
also-
pod racing in at number 8.
Yeah.
Unless
I also
anyone-
had that higher, but I'm not going to sense it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Around the room real quick. Batmouse staring at me. All right. Pod racing going to be locked in at number 8 here. All right. So we're moving on to number 7, and that is Kendall's pick.
Maybe I should put my number 1 here because apparently that's how we're doing this list now. No. Okay. Well, geez, actually, you know what? That doesn't go there. I'm gonna say. Oh man, this is hard. Yeah, I'm gonna say Jedi testing. I think that kind of if this is Greg has set the tone for the list. I think what I think about Jedi testing is kind of similar to what he was saying about pod racing, except for not at all. But it's like
Yeah,
like
except
pod
for the
racing is.
part.
I think pod racing is like it's thematic and it has like kind of almost the right amount of impact on the game, but like it also has its kind of its clunkiness and its imperfections and elements that kind of pull you out. And I think Jedi testing is kind of the same way, like where it's a really cool idea. First of all, like training anybody, whether it's Luke or not. And I mean, Jedi testing was my number 6, so I don't get to pick number 6. But it's a cool, it's a cool concept. When I talked to Jerry Darcy, like he talked about how the idea was that as Luke was getting trained in the Force, it was impacting the whole galaxy. It was shifting the balance of the Force in the whole galaxy and everything. And I think it actually does a pretty good job of that. The only issue with Jedi testing is that you don't actually test them all the way to beating Jedi. Generally speaking, even in like I would be okay. Like it would be okay if it was like most of the time you just train them up to a certain point and like not everybody makes it, but the fact that it is like almost impossible to actually get somebody to be ability 6 is a weakness of the thing. Plus, people don't like mind what you've learned and stuff. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I think 7 is a good spot for it.
I was gonna say, this would have been like a prime target for a sense. Just the difficulty of it.
We have to add 4 to it if you try to play sense right now.
I know. But mainly, I don't want to get murdered by Mind What You Have Learned Club.
Somehow Scott's going to like find his way into this meeting.
I mean, it's still at number 7. Like.
No, it's still.
We do have to make a list.
You do have to make a list.
All right.
So if you
add
number
4, 7,
would that make it 11 then?
I don't know.
On our 8th place list.
We might make it 3. You'd have to watch out.
Yeah, I was thinking of making 3.
All right, so Jedi testing at 7, Greg.
I was just going to add, testing didn't make my list, but it's okay. It is very thematic. Also, for anyone who doesn't like the non-interactivity, I would point out a distinction that there's a separate rule for Dagobah rules. So there's Dagobah rules, there's Jedi testing rules. So if we're just talking about the testing itself, it's not so bad, and 7 sounds okay with me.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I am talking about Jedi testing. I'm not talking about Mind What You've Learned or Dagobah specifically. Also, you know what? Mind What You've Learned isn't as non-interactive as you think it is. It treads water for a few turns and then it comes after you.
Yeah, I mean you give away 9 cards to do it, 9-10 cards to do it on the table.
Yeah, but it does want to fight. Mind What You've Learned does want to fight. Just
All right. Well, speaking of fighting, let's fight over card number 6 here as we lock Jedi testing in. So card number 6, Greg, it's your choice.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a lot of good choices here. I think I'm going to go with combo cards because they're really good. They're not super exciting, so I don't think they belong at the top of the list, but they're just really a great addition to the game. You've got your combo effects and interrupts. You got my favorite, which is the combo characters. You take, kind of useless cards like Owen and Baru, you combine them, and suddenly you've got a great card that's a lot of fun to play. Easy to understand. There's really not much to learn. It's just a better card, but it's got both personas or both card titles. They're fun. They're extremely playable. What's not to like? So they slot in perfectly at spot 6, I think.
They were my number 7, so I'm not going to complain there.
They weren't on my list, but they were in my honorable mentions. Plus, they're some of the all wings combo too. The combo interrupts are massive. So it was close, but I'm fine with it. I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about, especially some of the virtual combo interrupts that like do 800 different things, but
you can sense.
Well, I don't like them. It's not that I dislike when people play them against me. I don't like
sense end on certain is the future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean I can sense I can burn my sense. No, I'm not going to burn my sense on this, but because I think it's in there. I think they shouldn't be any higher. But I just wanted to my comment. I think that especially I guess combo permanence. So like characters and starships, and if there were combo weapons, that would be pretty awesome. Was there ever like a Grievous's lightsabers? Was that a legacy card?
Sabers.
I don't remember it.
I don't know. Seems like there might have been one. If not, there should be one. But I like the interrupts, especially the interrupts that are virtual interrupts and don't really feel like a mix of the two cards. Sometimes I don't like as much, but yeah, combo, and also like I said, it's not like a bad for the game, like like some of these rules. So
it depends who you ask. I mean, some of the Premier to Death Star 2 players don't want to touch them at all. So
yeah.
And for anyone wondering, there was a Grievous lightsaber in Legacy. It's the presence of the Force image of the two lightsaber blades crossed.
But it was singular or
It was
plural?
it was a card called Grievous's Lightsabers.
Okay, but so it's not a combo card.
It is not a combo card.
Okay.
And also it doesn't like swing 4 times or anything.
Okay.
So it's not
Didn't even
very
swing
exciting.
twice, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Somebody
someone
even
design
should
now.
make
I'll-
a card called Grievous's
work on that.
lightsaber and Grievous's other lightsaber.
All right. That'll be my first card I submit to Chris Kelly.
All right, how about EPP Grievous with 4 lightsabers?
Yeah.
That'll be card 2. All right.
That's-
Let's move
yeah.
on to.
And it's a combo card, so they can have more text on it. So
Let's move on to number 5 here. Number 5 is Kendall's pick.
okay. So I feel like
Put undercover spies there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I have undercover spies higher still, but if Greg wanted it at the end, I'm afraid if I push it too high that I'll be too greedy.
He could,
yeah.
he could wind up at 2, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, but I still have 3. I still have pick 3. But also I have a wild one that might be able to get through. I still have 1 sense and 1 alter, right? Yeah.
You
Okay.
are correct.
Yeah. We'll be wild. I'll get greedy. Or wait, no, but then, yeah.
Come on, Wild Man.
This is my list. This is hard. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. We'll do undercover spy here.
All right, so undercover spies previously sensed going into the 5 spot. We talked about that a little bit. Kendall, Batmouse, you have anything else to say about them?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I just think it's a key. It really is a key part of the game. I think especially the undercover card is interesting in and of itself, but then the particular choices of characters that can just deploy as an undercover spy is interesting because like a persona cost. Jin, it's the only version of Jin, but still that's a major light side persona that's 100% spent on just Jin and Bausch and TK422. I think that's interesting. Actually, I wish that wish TK422 was better.
I like how you're just focusing on what light side's giving up. Dark side's giving up Mara Jade with Saber, Mara and Ship to deploy Arca undercover. But the other major portion is, so currently Dark side doesn't have the same level of hate that light side does. Light side hates undercover spy to the point where I'm just going to kill you at any point during my turn. Just like, you're dead. You're an undercover spy. You're dead. Darkseid doesn't get that. Darkseid has to kill them, has to break them in the move phase. So undercover spies in general, are Greg doesn't like them as it can make it uninteractive. But I go the other way. When you have 5 guys with lightsabers standing at a location, like, that's not fun to fight into. Mm-hmm. So I can just undercover spy, and then I have to use a sense to block 2 of them. And then I have to have 3 answers as a dark side player to keep an undercover spy on the table, and light side has like 4 different answers. They can just kill it immediately.
It's interesting counterplay. Also, I will say, it's nice that Corran Horn still shows up in lots of light side decks because of undercover spies. Because otherwise he would be forgotten to the winds if it wasn't for undercover spies.
All right, so we're gonna lock undercover spies here in at number 5, unless anybody has any objections, any senses or alters.
All good.
Right. No. So at the halfway point, we have at number 8 pod racing, number 7 Jedi testing, number 6 combo cards, and number 5 undercover spies. And we're gonna move into number 4, where Mr. Badmouse will get his first pick here.
So there are really like three different things that I could put there. And I'm gonna say this one because I don't want it there. so I'm hoping one of you will sense it.
What?
No,
Bold
I do.
strategy.
But I mean, here's the risk: is you don't sense it. You guys are the responsible people for letting it get there.
No. You're
Okay, hang
responsible
on.
for your pick.
First of all, I love the idea of baiting out a sense. I thought of doing that myself. I don't love the idea of telling us that you're about to try to bait out a sense.
Look, here's my thought: is if I put this pick here, and you don't sense it, it's your fault. It's your fault that it makes the list.
Greg, you should be very familiar with bat logic at this point. This is
Yeah, this does
We
sound
may
like
have
a game
to
of
we may have
Bat
to
Mafia.
institute a Batmouse rule here. But this one technically we left I left open. I was wondering when somebody was going to do this, but
I'm gonna put inserts at this point.
All right, you
Insert.
got me. Sense, double sense, alter control, brief loss control V. Yodel
see, I was going to
emoji.
let that go through.
No,
Alright,
no,
so
no,
Batmouse.
No. Inserts are not going on this list. They are my bottom ranked rule from the appendix. Let's eviscerate Batmouse's choice here, even though it was just to draw out a sense. So on thematics, it gets an F. There is nothing thematic about an insert card. Like a good thematic rule makes it feel like a Star Wars movie is unfolding on the table. Usually is a bizarre movie. It's like a Rise of Skywalker, but nevertheless, it feels like there is a movie happening in your game. Inserts are the opposite of that. It does not feel like anything from a movie. It's just a reminder that you're playing a card game. Are they easy to understand? Yeah, that's the one thing I could give insert cards. Are they fun? No, not at all. There's never been a fun insert. Are they playable? No, you don't really see them in games. So yeah, they're like a D- overall.
I just want to point out that
Terrible
I got
choice.
inserted on in the GEM PC last week, just so you know, people do.
So I was thinking you probably were going to pick inserts, and I actually would have been okay with that. I think that insert is it's a neat mechanic because of the like sort of the dexterity of it all, like sticking another card in the middle of the deck. I think is a neat mechanic, and then also I think really, you know, anger, fear, aggression, you can abuse it, obviously, but is a card that I like. I think that odds it's you know, numbers. The numbers decks are just like those are bad cards, but I think that those are. And then the premier, isn't there a premier insert that just like makes you stop activating?
Yeah,
Like, I like that one too.
They had to errata that to once per game because it was so strong.
Well,
If you play enough of them.
Yeah, I mean maybe it's, yeah, and I mean maybe the balance, you know, maybe the balance is off. Maybe you know, maybe anger, fear, aggression shouldn't have been exactly as it was. Maybe it should have been more like order to engage, where it's like you have to, if you have presence, you know, if you can initiate a battle, then you have to initiate a battle or something like that. But I don't know. I think it as a premise, I like it. But okay. Batmouse gets that. We'll have to discuss whether
I want
we
to say
want
one more bad thing
allow for
about
bad
inserts.
Okay.
Kendall reminded me of something else I hate about inserts, which is once they go in your deck, suddenly there's like these new restrictions. You're not allowed to count the cards in your deck because you'll see where the insert is. You have to declare in advance how much you're going to activate, so that you don't like start to activate and then say, oh, you see the insert and then you can't go back. So it kind of feels like now there's like this strict like teacher looking over your shoulder, making sure you're not cheating at the game, and that just feels awful too. So
yeah, I feel like if there were better insert cards, like if better designed insert cards, that you could figure that out. Like you could say, no, you are allowed to count your deck. You're just allowed to know how far down it is. Like that, you know, that kind of solves that.
I would
And then-
I would like that, but you can't give this a good rating based on what you think the insert rules should be.
I didn't. Batmouse is the one that says he thinks it's
Yeah.
it's the best.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the number
All right.
4. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
Batmouse put this at number 4. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that one got blown out. And
Yeah.
That's got
fine,
sense.
'cause
Yep.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
And I'm gonna see if I can do it again. Let's see if I can get
no,
all these
you
stuff.
can't do. No, don't do.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no. I'm.
Oh yeah. You ready?
Go ahead.
Give me your Kendall. Let's put bluff rules right here.
That is my
Bluff rules
second
has been
lowest. That is
brought
my
in here.
second lowest. Yeah. So again, there's almost nothing thematic about bluffs. Compared to inserts, I guess there's just a play on the word bluffs. Is it easy to understand? No, it's the most unknown, complicated rule. For the listeners who don't know it, Dark gets to like put down cards face down, and then if Light leaves them face down, they add 1 to Force Strain each. If Light doesn't like that, they can flip them over, and then they deploy for free. If they can
Not free. Deploy 0.
Oh, really? Okay. So
Deploy 0.
deploy 0, so it might get modified, I guess. Actually, deploy 0 is better because free would be affected by that shield.
Goldenrod. Yeah.
Goldenrod, and 0 is fine. So Light flips them over. If they're interrupts, I think there's some kind of penalty to Dark if they're cards that can't be deployed.
Lose 2 force.
Lose 2. Okay. So Batmouse, if you'd like to join the rules team, you can be the bluffs expert. That position is currently open.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
All right.
I've actually every time there's been an opening, I have applied.
All right. Rules team bluffs expert position has been filled. Also, are bluffs fun? No, not that I know of. Have they ever been playable? I think I heard in Legacy at one point they were. So yeah, bluffs are like a D minus, similar to insert cards.
So use it. Use your card.
Well, that's been put at number 4. So
Use your card.
No, yeah, I'm gonna hold my sense. I can't waste my last sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not sensing it.
Yeah, great job,
All right.
Batmouse. You put bluffs at 4 and
Batmouse
tried to pin the blame on us.
And,
Yeah,
and,
no,
and
no,
now
no,
we're gonna have to write a new
I have
rule.
been the blame. I have been the blame.
all right. So bluff rules
I
goes
bluffed
into
you
4.
into giving me number 4. I bluffed you into the bluffs.
The bat bluff.
Oh, okay.
to get
Okay, I
number
see.
4. All right.
I mean,
so-
honestly, I don't know bluffs rules, but it is kind of like I do think that we need something on this list that is such and like location name rules in effect here. And if not that one, would have been something else.
Yeah, it would have been asteroid.
Is trench rules
Yeah, that's
Well,
on the Appendix C.
on the list? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to number 3. Pick number 3. That is Kendall's last pick here.
Okay. Well, you guys got on my case for not picking the Pit of Carcoon higher on the list last time. So I did the opposite this time. And my vanity pick is at number 3, capturing characters. I think this is Star Wars is, the best thing about Star Wars is the criminals. The bounty hunters are they have one like you could take a picture of where they are in the of how much time they have in the movie, and yet they have some of the deepest, most interesting backstories because they're the coolest designs. Capturing Han Solo is such an iconic thing. And all the the specific kind of non-lethal weapons that all the bounty hunters have. And it just, escorting is great. Imprisoning is great. Even the fact that you usually just want to, when you're in battle, you usually just want to let them release them. Like that is also very thematic because a lot of times when bounty hunters are in battle, they use their non-lethal weapon to tie somebody up and eliminate them from the battle so that they can get away or so that they can, do whatever. And also our heroes, because of storytelling, you can't just kill off the heroes. So that's a great way of having the good guys be able to lose without killing them off. I love the capturing mechanic so much.
Yeah, my only objection is I'd put it at 1 or 2. Capturing is great, like you said, super thematic. Maybe if it's ever a little bit confusing because of things like inactive rules, I would say it's worth it. Like this is something where, okay, maybe you get a little confused, but totally worth it for how thematic and fun it is. It's very interactive, seeing characters go back and forth, get captured, get released. Obviously playable, like almost every game has, if not capturing, at least a threat that IG with gun is going to come down and capture someone. So capturing, great choice. Like it.
So my only objection to this is that you said capturing characters. I'm a tractor beam guy. Give me your starships. Like I've captured and turned, and now I have a Han, Chewie, and the Falcon running around in space. I've done it with Gold Leader. So give me that. Now you pay to draw a battle destiny. You know, the capturing of starships is also extremely important. So if you expand it to all of capturing instead of just capturing characters, I'm good with it.
No, those are two different. Those are two different items. It's capturing characters or capturing starships. Those are two different entries in the appendix.
They are different entries, and capturing starships is a good bit different. I don't think it's as thematic. Like you capture the Falcon, and then Han and Chewie get replaced by like evil Han and evil Chewie. It doesn't make as much sense to me. Also, the rules for it are a little. Maybe it's that they're more complicated, or maybe it's just that they're less known because it doesn't come up as much. But that's also a ding against it. Is it doesn't really get used so much.
Okay,
it's still fun.
I'm gonna make one of you guys blow an altar then. Sense.
Yeah,
capturing has been sensed, and Kendall's gonna alter in response. Batmouse burns a sense. Kendall burns his altar, and we get capturing at number 3. I don't think Greg's gonna try to take that one out. So
that sounds fine.
Capturing at number 3. It's just capturing is the thing. All right, we'll move on to position 2. That is Greg again. So what is number 2 on your list?
Let's see. I had capturing was my number 2. I'll go with the.
Hey, capturing was my number 2 too. I should have picked something else.
It's my number 6.
That's right. Maybe I'm going to put your number 3 at number 2. I'm going with the Hoth energy shield. It's another thing that I feel is very thematic, and not too complicated. It's just, hey, Dark, we have the energy shield up. You can't deploy here. Whether it's fun is kind of up to the individual player. I know that, right now there's no light side Hoth deck that puts the shield up and runs around with speeders like we had in Legacy, but who knows? Maybe design will do something about that at some point. So I don't think there's even that much to say other than it's great. It's thematic. It works exactly the way you would expect. If you never read the rules and you just had to guess what the Hoth energy shield does, you'd probably guess Dark can't go where there's a shield, and that's it.
I'm gonna say it's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna sense it or anything. I think that the one thing that I dislike about the game and the shield right now is that there is no dark side energy shield right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose an entire, and dark side doesn't even have energy shields to even be able to play their epic effect. So their epic event. So that's my one caveat of dislike for Hoth energy rules in general. That and being able to just drain under the shield. But I'm okay with it otherwise. I would like to see Darkseid be able to do something about it, and currently they can't.
I would agree with you. I hope
it's hidden NPE. It's hidden NPE.
Sure.
What cards does everybody still have left? I just have a sense, right?
Kendall, you have 1 sense. Greg has 1 sense in 1 altar, and Batmouse has 1 sense in 1 altar.
I wanted to add, I love the Battle of Hoth. It's maybe it's my favorite part of all of Star Wars. And so that's part of what fed into me picking the Hoth Energy Shield rules. And yeah, maybe there could be better cards to have a cool Battle of Hoth in the card game. So again, maybe design will do something about that. I hope that they do, because again, it's like my favorite thing.
I guess the question is, does it deserve to be number 2? And is Kendall want to sense it?
So okay, so here's where I'm at. It does not deserve to be number 2. I'm not sure what does, but it doesn't. It's not on my list at all. Granted, like most of my higher stuff, except for my number 1, are on the list. Greg has an alter, but Batmouse has a sense, and Batmouse has the last pick.
And his defensive shield.
And he has his defensive shield. So we would have to fight pretty hard. Well, the defensive shield doesn't really matter that much, but basically where we're at right now is if I'm going to use my sense, then the other person has to also be willing to use their sense, because there's no reason for them not to alter.
If you did this,
You'd consider. I'll use
illusion. Come on.
Well,
Batmouse could be bluffing here. Batmouse could be bluffing.
Batmouse could be bluffing.
Yeah,
he is a dirty liar. And but I also kind of think that I want a better number 2. So like I almost don't even. I think number 1 is pretty clear based on what we've said so far, and what hasn't been said.
I know you guys can't see our faces while we're doing this, but I watched Greg's face when Kendall said that, and Greg does not agree.
I mean, there's one. My number 1 is just like so far and away like more important to the game and everything, that it has to be number 1 or number 2. And I think Hoth Energy Shield rules at number 2 seems horrible. Like if it was at number 4, like
it's your fault if it makes the list.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Batmouse is trying to get me to spend my thing so he can put something stupid at number 1, but I have more faith in Batmouse. And also like I like a lot of these rules, and Hoth Energy Shield rules I don't like. I would say Hoth Energy. I think I could explain how they work. You pay an extra 1, and the thing. Yeah, I hate the dark side.
What are you?
No, you don't.
What?
Yeah, so you need the census because you don't know what the rules
No,
are.
for dark side to move, don't they have to pay an extra 1?
That's on the location. That's not the rule.
Okay, well then veto, or I mean sense.
All right, Energy Shield rules.
I'm actually just gonna let it. I'm gonna let it go through. I've got other good ones. So.
Okay.
Okay, so it's sensed. I'm gonna put Blown Away at number 2 then.
Blown Away.
We didn't use it. We didn't use Blown Away yet, right? I know we talked about it.
No.
Okay.
That is an inspired choice. I like
Yeah. So Blown Away stuff is complicated for sure, but totally worth it. It is so fun and satisfying to blow something away. Whether you're blowing away a whole planet or just a shield generator, it's fun for the whole family. You have this immense satisfying feeling of flipping the card over and like everything at the location goes lost. If you're blowing away a planet, all the sites you wipe them off the table. I know that doesn't come up in a real game very often, but it's so much fun and it's super thematic. So it is worth the complexity. I love seeing stuff get blown away. I want design to do more stuff with blowing away. Number 2 for sure, if not number 1.
Great. That's great. No, I still think my number 1 is what I have as number 1 is the correct number 1. But number 2, and it wasn't even on my list, but I like Blown Away a lot because it's just like everything that happens in Star Wars revolves around blowing something up.
Yeah.
Like it's whether it's the shield generator or the Death Star or the bunker, or the blockade flagship, like all those cards that you can blow away, except for the holo table for some reason. And believe me, Chewie probably blew it up. If he loses it that much against C-3PO, he's probably got somebody that he plays against that he like pulled out his bowcaster and shot it.
Batmouse?
So Blown Away is I will tell you the Blown Away was number 4 on my list. I'm not going to challenge it. As a dark side player, being able to blow away Alderaan is great. Being able to get blown up when you're playing TTO is not. But I do enjoy blown away rules in general. And the one part that I came across, like, oh, cool. So if someone is playing hidden base against you and you just blow away Alderaan, you've actually already probed Alderaan when you do that too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite rules is and it says it, the way it says it in the AR is just so like nonchalant. It's like, by the way, a blown away planet is considered to have been probed. It's like, yeah. I suppose we did probe that planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only
blew up the rebel base. You didn't just find the rebel base.
Look, overkill only is only a thing for something that doesn't really need to happen. You need the rebel base gone. Yeah. That's not overkill. That's effective use of weaponry.
All right, so it sounds like Blown Away is not, well, Batmouse is not going to sense it. Greg is not going to sense his own choice. So Blown Away, penciled in here at number 2. And we go to our last pick. The way this game has played out, Batmouse gets to put whatever he wants, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. What can you just review what everyone has?
So, Greg, you have 1 sense and 1 altar. Kendall has nothing. And Batmouse has 1 sense and 1 altar.
Oh, so he can just cancel my sense.
He also has his defensive shield, which if you sense his choice, he gets to put the next one in and it's immune to sense.
Well, he can just alter my sense. So he can just pick what he wants right away.
Yep.
All right. Batmouse, I guess well played.
Number 1. Way to play the game.
The Batmouse rule. The Batmouse rule will be
all because we clarified that undercover spies could get higher on the list.
Yes. You can see that was your downfall. So there are 3 that I have here, and I actually wrote one down twice. I wrote down stealing twice. Like I have it as number 8, and then I have it as number 3. So I must really, really like stealing. And I kind of I would choose that if I knew Greg would just sense it. That way I could just use my shield, and the shield wouldn't have to wait for the game.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna put. If you're gonna sense it, I'm gonna choose stealing here just so that it gets its
play with
time.
good faith. Put what you want at number 1. You're gonna be able to alter it.
I'm gonna put Sabak at number 1.
Okay.
Sabak at number 1.
I don't hate it, but it is not on my top 8. But I don't totally hate you for picking Sabak.
Sabak is just
apparently number 1 was not as clear as I thought it was.
Well, you were gonna choose asteroid rules.
No, I was not.
Kendall, were you gonna choose the Jarek rules?
No, reacts.
Reacts are good too. Reacts are on my list.
In every game.
Man,
yeah.
Sabak is thematic because you're like, oh, Han won the Falcon playing Sabak. I can play Sabak. I'm pretty sure I could win the Falcon. I could win an unpiloted starship on at least one of them. I can take your droid. I can get your 3PO. And now I'm running around with 3PO who get to do things for me. So now that would be, isn't that like Gem Tom like dream to win, to have 4 LOM and then win 3PO? So you can just, all right, cool. I'm gonna put 2 cards back. I see you killing my drop, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just cycle everything.
I will.
So
go ahead. I'll go
had
after.
2 picks, and he chose Sabak and Bluffs.
Yeah, I feel like
fired.
I do feel like you made the list feel a little less serious, but that's okay. We're all having fun. Here's the good things I can say about Sabak. First of all, yes, it's really thematic. I think Decipher was very creative, creating a miniature game of blackjack out of it. Very creative way of implementing Sabak into the game. It's a card game within a game. Easy to understand because people already know how to play blackjack. So it's blackjack to 11. It's quick to learn. There are some weird oddities in the rules. You have to know about the clone cards and so forth, but it's pretty quick. It's a short rules entry to read. The only problem is every single time someone plays Sabak, you end up breaking out the rule book and rereading that entry. It's, the downside is it gets abused. Like the main reason someone puts Sabak in their deck is because they have some trick to get a 6 and a 5 and just get a perfect Sabak, and you don't even really feel like you're playing the game of blackjack. You just feel like you're just doing your trick to draw a perfect Sabak and win instantly. That's the downside. If you had to shuffle your deck and then play Sabak, that would be a little more fun, but people would still just find a way to have only 2 cards in their deck with a 5 and a 6.
Yeah, it's almost like if you were playing a game and everybody was like, kind of expected to be playing in good faith, and then you had one player who like kind of went out of his way to manipulate the rules in his favor.
I've never seen that happen before, ever.
Okay, what if it was recirculate and then reshuffle and then start playing? I think that would be fun, but then maybe not good enough to actually no one would use it.
Yeah, so Sabak is there. We didn't talk about. I usually use missing as the example when I talk about this, but there are a handful of decipher rules that I think would have worked in a rotating format as like a temporary keyword. Like Magic the Gathering comes out every year and they have like, flashback is the keyword for this year. And then eventually and everybody learns how to play flashback, and there's a bunch of cards that interact with flashback, and then eventually that goes away. And I think that, like things like missing or Sabak, even like asteroid rules or something, it's an interesting thing in a small environment where you kind of know that most people, or pod racing is another one where it's like you kind of know that most people are going to be engaging with this mechanic, but to have it be there forever is a little bit. That's kind of the reason that I feel like it needed to be shielded and everything. But I don't know, putting it at number 1 on the list kind of characterizes the list as somebody Joker King, when I was asking my team like what I should put on my list, he could not understand what the criteria for this list was. And he posted a meme that was like, I don't understand what you're saying, and I will not engage with it. I think it was an Arrested Development.
Isn't that the premise for the whole show? Is that we are ranking things with no specific rhyme or reason?
Right. Yes,
yeah, there's no necessary criteria.
That is part of the premise, which you're right. You are correct. And this one I think was particularly a particularly arbitrary set of criteria. But that's what I get for having Batmouse as my collaborator here. Keep him at that only getting 2 picks as often as possible, I guess, is the moral, right?
Let him win trivia every time.
Let him win trivia every time.
So we have our full list. Before I go down the list, I want to go around and get everybody's honorable mentions. So maybe one of the ones that didn't make the list that you think deserves to be mentioned alongside. I'll start with Kendall. I think I know what you're going to say already.
Yeah, Reacts definitely. So my list was I think I got 5 of the 8. So actually not as good as the previous one, but yeah, Reacts was my number 1, and I'm really surprised it didn't make the list. If you guys didn't think it deserved to be number 1, then I'm surprised it didn't get pulled up earlier. And then Asteroids would have been my other kind of goofy pick, but and Stealing was number 8, but I didn't care about Stealing.
Do you have a bottom list? Do you have a bottom list, like a worst?
I don't know. I just have a top. I just have a top 8.
Greg's got 1 through 28 split out, I'm pretty sure. Greg, what's your honorable mention?
Honor roll. This was briefly mentioned, but never officially nominated. Stealing is really good for the same reason that Capturing is really good. And for bottom, aside from bluffs and inserts, the worst rules are the mining droids, because there's like a page of rules about how to do landmines, and there are no landmines in Star Wars. It just makes no sense why this is in the game. Also, collapsing sites like doesn't really happen, so it's unnecessary complexity. And the cave rules, like, why? Why is there a rule that the cave turns into the belly? Like, why do we have that?
I like that one of the things I saw in the cave rules don't include the Dagobah cave or the Hoth Wampa cave. So it's really just like
It's
the
just
big
the
one
asteroid
cave
cave.
rules.
Yeah. Okay, but stealing will be my honor roll.
Batmouse?
So like I said, I had stealing at 3 and 8 on my list because I can't make lists. And but you mentioned that bombing run is probably going to be my honorable mention. As you know, the collapsing part, it doesn't happen, but again, I'm not a fan. I'm personally not a fan of when, all right, cool, I'm just going to stack like six guys here and say you can't fight me here. So if I can't undercover spy you, I can at least collapse you and kill all your people inside.
Yeah, actually, I like the idea of that as well, and I think that that's the kind of, like, I mean, bombing thing. Even if collapsing sites isn't a thing, bombing things is definitely a thing in Star Wars.
The bombing rules also include just like when you bring your TIE bomber down to like participate in battles. That's the other version. That's the other half of the bombing run, right? Is you can just like have your TIE bomber in a fight. And that always felt weird to me because now the TIE bomber's power is being compared to character's power. And
Right.
it creates it. That means that there's like this equality. Like you can now equivocate like a character like Luke has 6
You can
power.
fight a starfighter.
And you compare
stronger
that to
than
a
a bomber.
starfighter, and you can compare a starfighter to like a star destroyer. So now you can compare Luke's power to a star destroyer's power. It's a little weird that they basically can cross
Well,
over
you can
like
compare
that.
Luke's power to an AT-AT already.
True.
Right.
Okay. True.
But I always feel like the power levels and stuff and the way battles work is more like there's more going on than just the characters fight, like than just the people that we actually see.
Okay.
Like that there's, you know, if there's no weapon, I mean, the biggest thing is if there's no weapons in the fight, they're still shooting at each other.
Sure.
It's just that when you have a lightsaber or you have a blaster, then that means that blaster played a key role in the fight.
Sure.
Yeah, like Leia's not running up to punch Darth Vader in the face. I mean, there are other things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
Though that would be,
In my mind,
that would
she
be
is.
fun.
That's how the game. That's to
That's
me.
how Star Wars
She's punching Darth Vader. Yeah.
I also, and then sort of along with that, I also feel like the reason that you have overflow when you have one character at a site and a bunch of dark side guys is that character is defending the white hats, you know, is defending somebody. So when Leia alone on the Death Star or whatever is there, she's like leading a prison break and she gets killed, but also the 20 other people that are there that couldn't really put up a fight get killed.
That is an
Okay.
interesting theory so overflow. Each unit of overflow is like a random no name that died.
Not necessarily.
Right.
It's not necessarily 1-to-1, but
Okay.
but there's
But it
No,
represents that.
It's your morale. It's your morale dropping, right?
Oh, okay.
That's your morale dropping.
there's significant. I think there's other significance to battle than just the literal. Otherwise, overflow doesn't make any sense.
Okay. That works.
All right. Well, before we move on to the recap and my list, I have awarded today's episode. I've awarded Greg Zinn, our guest, as the winner. He got the most points in trivia, and he actually got the most points during discussion too. So, runaway victory for Greg here. I'll give you my list
number two.
quick. Say
Then
it
why
again.
do I feel like a loser? Why is it that Sabak is number 1 on the list?
Because I played the game correctly. Is why.
You won the battle, but not the war.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give you my list real quick. I had as honorable mention Local Trouble Battle, just because it's funny to me that got its own entry. Number 8, Sabak. We talked about number 7, Bombing Runs. We talked about number 6, Hatred Cards. I think that's an interesting way to just represent anger in a physical form. Number 5, I had Reacts. Number 4.
Can I use my sense on the hatred
Nope.
cards from Bill's list?
Nope.
I get a control.
He does get control.
Number 4, Blown Away. Number 3, I had Pod Racing. Number 2, I had the Senate. Come on, like I think it's interesting. I know everybody hates it. And then my number 1, which I'm surprised didn't get mentioned at all, is Dejarik rules. Absolutely my favorite rules. Some of my favorite cards, and I really hope that somebody in design, wink wink, can work on making those work a little bit better. And
Yeah,
then
I feel like you've chosen that one because of something on your leg.
I want you to know that one of the questions I did consider is what Dejarik is tattooed on my leg. All right, so I'll give you the list we came up with as the group. Our honorable mentions, we had Reacts, Stealing, and Bombing Run. At number 8, we had Pod Racing. At number 7, we had Jedi Testing. At number 6, we had Combo Cards. Number 5, Undercover Spies. At number 4, Bluff Rules. Number 3, Capturing. Number 2, Blown Away. And our number 1 rule from Appendix C of the AR, Sabak.
So that the list is interesting to me because it's like the bottom half. Normally the bottom half would be the weird stuff, but kind of the top half is the like. I mean, because even Blown Away and Capturing are
Rarities.
Are thematics over mechanics, and the kind of the bottom half of the list is more, like things like combo cards like are more like mechanical, interesting, and that explains why because reacts are not like really. I mean, it's not thematic, but it's not a it's not as. Yeah, so I'm wrong. It's not number 1. Sabak is number 1. Sabak is, yeah.
Sabak is the way to go.
Yeah, no, I think Sabak represents everything that Star Wars CCG is about. That's for sure.
It must if it's number 1.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
I mean, you're playing a card game. This is all about playing a card game, right? So why not have the card game be the thing that's the best about a card game?
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, I don't know. We're talking about these weird rules. It's definitely a weird rule.
Well, this is the section that I do refer to as the WTF rules, and WTF is a way to close that gap when you're kind of just, I want to have fun, but I kind of want to win every once in a while too.
Yeah, if someone said, tell me something weird about Star Wars CCG, I don't know the game at all, I think Sabak is not a bad way to be like, oh, by the way, we can play a card game inside our card game. We can play blackjack. But I'd rather tell them about blowing up planets.
Well, that's a number 2. It's still pretty good. It's still pretty good.
There.
Yeah. Now that I'm glad, Batmouse, I'm glad you didn't pick Reacts, because Reacts are boring. And now this list is much more interesting. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Greg, for coming on. Thanks, Taco Bill, for writing the trivia and keeping the train on the tracks. I'm not going to thank Batmouse this time around. Thanks everyone for listening. Already. Until next time, good luck, have fun, and no reverts. This podcast is a production of the KendallCast Podcast Network. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/KendallCast or make a direct donation through the PayPal link at kendallcast.ninja. Thanks for listening.